Kansas Senator Roger Marshall is calling for action against Washington's out-of-control spending. The White House announcing $5.5 trillion of new and higher taxes in President Biden's massive $7.3 trillion 2025 budget. Marshall sending a letter to the chairman of the Senate Republican Conference requesting a meeting on reforming the budget process. Meanwhile, overnight, Congress released text of the $1.2 trillion minibus spending bill to fund 6 government agencies. The bill is just over 1,000 pages long. It's out just before the Friday government shutdown deadline. Speaker Mike Johnson backs the bill, saying it includes significant conservative policy wins like rescinding $20 billion from Biden's IRS expansion and taking back $6 billion in unused COVID funds. Joining me now is Kansas Senator Roger Marshall, a member of the Senate Budget and Homeland Security Committees. Senator, it's good to see you. Does Mike Johnson have it right? Tell us about this minibus, and why are we continuing Nancy Pelosi's spending again?
Well, Maria, it's deja vu all over again. I think this is the 6th, the 7th time we've had this overnight legislation. We're supposed to look at it and then vote on it. But look, Speaker Johnson's between a rock and a hard place. The American people gave us the most liberal president in American history. They had Democrats control the Senate, and Speaker has a 2-seat majority over there. But right now, the system's broken. And we're just doing the same thing over and over again. That's why we're going to the conference here when we get back in 2 weeks, and we're going to talk about fixing a very broken budget process. There are laws out there that govern the calendar, the way we're supposed to handle this budget, with deadlines as well. They found ways to circumvent them. We want to go back to that regular order where there's a budget process with the Senate Budget Committee leading and giving us a budget that America can live within its means, not adding $2 trillion more every year to our national debt.
Well, Senator, America First Legal filed a Supreme Court amicus brief for you and 26 members of Congress in support of presidential immunity for President Donald Trump. You're arguing that because Congress never convicted Trump of any crime, the D.C. Circuit made a mistake, denying him presidential immunity. Tell us more.
Well, Maria, this is definitely election interference now. We're 6 months out from an election, and here we have this judicial system trying to persecute Donald Trump. Look, I'm not a constitutional lawyer, but I believe what they're doing is unconstitutional, and it's certainly unequal application of the law. Very simply stated is the president has certain immunity powers when he's in office. The Constitution clearly states the way to do that is go through an impeachment process. President Trump was never convicted. Therefore, this legal issue has no standings, and the Supreme Court should kick it out and let the president campaign.
Well, right now, Letitia James in New York is itching to seize Trump's property to come up with that $400+ million fine. Bond.
Yeah, they're political weaponization. I've never seen a fine like this in my life. It's impossible for any person. There'd be very few people in the world that can make this type of a bond. Again, this is now election interference, 6 months from an election, and we have an attorney general out there who's basically running her next campaign and using Donald Trump as her political weapon.
Well, election interference, are you comfortable that you're going to see a transparent and fair election in November? Because, look, all we keep hearing is these efforts to either pay people to go engage and get more Democrat voters. You've got people at the border trying to get people to become Democrat voters. You've got AG Merrick Garland vowing to fight voter ID laws.
Well, look, if we don't, then it's going to lie in the back of Republicans. We have the Republican, National Republican Committee out there, Lord Trump, saying that they've got a system ready to go. I know back home and across the nation, I've talked to multiple Republican committees, and they have a system that they're trying to get in place where we can actually follow those ballots from beginning to end, make sure they're legal. So certainly there's an effort, and we know there's basically 7 or 8 very key cities that we need to have an increased presence. I think we will be there large and in charge, trying to make sure that there is a legal process. But whenever you just throw out ballots unsolicited, it's a tough situation, and that's why we need state laws to come into place and to fix that erroneous situation.
Well, we've got laws being broken every day at the southern border, and I know you know that. You've been to the border plenty. How come it's been so hard for the Republicans to actually secure the border? I mean, every day there's another horrible story. Border Patrol agents in El Paso, Texas, arrested a Colombian migrant with these gang tattoos. He was attempting to cross the border illegally. Agents allegedly found photos of people being tortured on his phone. And then there's this: more than 32,000 migrants with criminal records were arrested in fiscal year 2023. That's a 340% increase over the past 3 years, Senator. We don't know what happened after they got arrested, whether they were released back into the population or not. But these are the kinds of people that we're seeing coming into America right now.
Yeah,
criminal records.
When we have 2 million people running around the country that were gotaways, we have another 2 million people that were paroled. These people have not been checked out. We are seeing a spike in crime is what we're seeing. I did a crime roundtable back home in Wichita this past week. I learned that the law enforcement in Kansas have confiscated over 200 pounds of fentanyl last year, enough to kill 40 million people. There's only 3 million people in Kansas, but they've confiscated enough to kill 40 million. And as the local law enforcement says, we're not going to arrest ourselves out of this problem. There's not enough law enforcement officers to arrest the people. We have to secure the border. Why can't Republicans get this border secured? Look, elections have consequences. The person in the White House can stop this yesterday. You've said that multiple times. I've said this multiple times. The Democrats are not serious about securing the border. That's why this is the #1 issue as we go into this election in November, is that Americans want their border secured. Every city, every county, every state is now a border state.
Well, the last time we spoke, you were telling me about all the human trafficking that is underway in America. Is that part of the story? Is that what some of these migrants are doing, coming into America, setting up businesses as a front, and then doing human trafficking under our noses?
Yeah, exactly. You know, you've asked the question before. I've heard you. Where are these 40,000 Chinese nationals going? Well, they're going to these Chinese weed farms where they're growing marijuana. Some of it's legal, and then there's illegal behind it. So lots of them are laborers on that. And then they start setting up the other parts of human trafficking, the sex trafficking, that part as well.
Yeah.
This Chinese triad, the Chinese mafia, deeply involved in all of this. And then on the end of it, they're doing the money laundering.
Unbelievable. Meanwhile, we reported earlier in the show about a squatter in a woman's home in Queens. Apparently, squatters are also taking over, and there was a video that went viral on TikTok about, we don't know if this guy is who he says he is, but he's telling people how to invade people's homes. Is this originating in China? What's going on with the squatting situation in America, and can you, as an elected official, do anything about it?
Well, Maria, I think that those problems are best solved with local laws. Washington, D.C. will certainly mess this up. I think it's part of just the number of people, the raw number of people that have come across the border. Again, millions of gotaways that we know have never been vetted. But also you've got this concept that the government owes you, that the government has you addicted to all these handouts right now. They were paying for people's rent, and when that money ran out, these people stayed as well. So this is a cultural issue. This is the consequences of a lawless society created by Joe Biden. Open borders, cashless bells. We're not going to go after the criminals. I think this is the consequences of a lawless society created under Joe Biden and the radical Democrats.
What a stunning set of developments. Senator, thank you. We'll be watching your work. We appreciate your time this morning.